Live from KSAT 12. Good Morning San Antonio starts right now.
And good morning, 8:58. It is no longer a record. It's up to 59 degrees. But earlier this morning, it was 57, and that was a record low. Justin Horn will talk about that coming up in just a few minutes. So it feels like fall.
It's still nice. Yeah, 59.
Which means corn and maize and Halloween-type activities. We're trying to stay as normal. People are trying to do whatever they can to keep things as normal as possible in this weird pandemic time. So,
and we have this near San Antonio, the giant corn maze opening pretty soon, like in a couple of weeks on September 19th.
This is the Graph 7A Ranch. They do this every year. This year is a little bit different. It spells out God bless America and land of the free. The symbols you see there, a church, a dove, fish, and praying hands. And it is a huge maze.
It is. And they're doing this because it's for their 20th anniversary. In previous years, the corn maze has paid homage to Texas-based grocery chain H-E-B and beloved San Antonio Spurs.
So if you want to feel a little normal, you can go out there and general admission. Fridays from 6 to 9 p.m., Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m., Sundays from noon to 5. The cost is $17.50 for anyone ages 3 to 64. $12 for seniors ages 65 and older. So there's a little normalcy for you.
It is. I was looking
in the maze.
I was looking at that. Yeah, I can get lost. Speaking of the quote here, it can take 30 minutes to an hour. Wow, to find your way in. I haven't done it yet.
If you have no sense of direction, good luck. Because you got to figure out, oh, am I this way or this way?
Well, maybe it's something that'll be calming.
So,
calming experience.
Finding the praying hands and just hanging out there for a while, praying you get out of it. So sounds like fun, though.
Yeah, it'll be fun. For now, let's look at the GMSA rundown.
President Donald Trump still on the defense after admitting on tape that he downplayed the coronavirus.
I'm the leader of the country. I can't be jumping up and down and scaring people. I don't want to scare people.
In the latest coronavirus report, another 151 new COVID-19 cases were reported in Bexar County, along with 2 more deaths. Hospitalizations continue to go down.
Students and staff all over the area returning to in-person learning this week and are adjusting to new COVID-19 protocols. Only 50 of the 500 students enrolled at KSAT High School are on campus this week.
New York City preparing to pay tribute to the lives lost on 9/11. Tomorrow, a ceremony at Ground Zero will take place to mark the 19th anniversary of the terror attacks.
Tomorrow is 9/11. New York's fire department just added the names of 27 fallen firefighters to its memorial wall. All 27 died in the last year from illnesses related to the rescue and recovery efforts at Ground Zero.
At least 6 people have been killed in the wildfires burning along the West Coast. That number is expected to rise. Fires have burned 500 square miles in Oregon since Monday.
A former Columbia University doctor is under federal indictment on charges he used his position to sexually abuse dozens of female patients. Prosecutors say Robert Haddon's victims include minors.
Future funding for the Howard W. Peak Greenway Trail System could be in jeopardy. Right now, expansions are funded by a 1/8 cent sales tax, but that's expected to expire in 2021.
The countdown to kickoff underway for football fans. The defending Super Bowl champs, the Kansas City Chiefs, hosting the Houston Texans tonight.
And a second Barbie doll is now honoring the Day of the Dead. The doll is part of a collection inspired by Dia de los Muertos, the annual multi-day observance.
Big night. Big night.
Yeah. So you think it's going to look different? Well, obviously because people are going to be wearing masks, but also the way they play.
But they didn't have any exhibition games, any preseason games, and usually they play 4, sometimes 5 preseason games. So they may not be quite as sharp as you would like to see them, but boy, once they start pounding and heads start clanging and shoulder pads start popping,
it'll be great to see them. Just like it was great to see 57 this morning.
Oh, I can't wait for football. Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I haven't found anyone yet who is complaining about these cooler temperatures.
I thought that was snow.
I thought that was snow on you.
Yeah, I was like, wow.
But temperatures right now are in the 50s. And we've got cloudy skies. You can see that there behind me. We're going to keep those clouds in place, and that's going to keep temperatures pretty cool today. We're thinking highs in the 70s eventually later this afternoon. Let's take a look at the radar. We'll show you that everything we got out there is light at the moment. We had some heavier rain earlier. We had some flash flood warnings earlier this morning down there around Floresville and Poth. That's where we had some heavy rain. That is all dissipated. I think the shower activity is really going to continue to go away, and we'll just be left with mostly cloudy skies. But you know, when it rains, mold tends to kick up. It's in the moderate category today. Leading the way is fall elm. It's at 1,130. It's in the high category, and pigweeds showing up there too. Forecast: 66 noontime, 20% chance of rain. We'll take the rain chances out this afternoon. 72. That's it. Northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. In my book, that's football weather. But will it hang around for those games tomorrow night? We'll talk more about that here in just a few minutes, guys.
Thank you, Justin. Taking a look out with TransGuide this morning, looking at I-10 and Probant. Things running smoothly so far. And top stories we're following today. San Antonio police working to track down the man involved in a shooting on the southeast side.
Police tell us it left the victim in the hospital with a gunshot wound to his leg. It happened around 2 this morning in the 700 block of Carvins Avenue. Police tell us the victim walked outside of his house. He found the suspect inside his truck. And when he confronted the man, police say that's when the suspect pulled out a gun and shot him.
That suspect in his 40s was able to get away on a bike, where he was later seen by police at a nearby Valero gas station. Before officers could approach him, he ran off. Right now, that investigation is ongoing.
Prayer services for Bexar County Sheriff's Office Deputy Noah Calderon set to be held today.
Calderon, who graduated top of his cadet class, set the record for being the youngest BCSO deputy ever hired in 2018 at 18 years old. Calderon and his fiancee died on August 12th when an 18-wheeler on Highway 188 and FM 796 between Sinton and Mathis collided with his vehicle.
There will be a public viewing for Calderon today at 6 p.m. and a prayer service at 7 at the Miracle Center. Funeral services will be held tomorrow with a public viewing at 9:30 in the morning and a prayer service at 10 a.m. also at the Miracle Center.
Today is the Big Give in San Antonio, but this year it is entirely virtual.
The goal is to help the nonprofit organizations that are always helping us. The fundraiser event lasts until midnight, and the group is hoping to raise $25 million for local nonprofits.
As of right now, more than 300 organizations have raised more than $600,000. To donate, just head to thebiggivesa.org.
And we want to remind you there is still time to register for this year's Head for the Cure. The race will be virtual this year due to the coronavirus. You can run, walk, or bike a 5K in your neighborhood on September 26th. Then you snap a selfie while you're doing all that. We've got a link to register and more information on the event right now on ksatcommunity.com.
And David, when you register, you can even rest. Run or rest.
Can you take a picture of yourself on the couch?
Yeah, you can take a selfie on the couch as well.
That'll work.
And KSAT kids in the San Antonio International Airport are teaming up in the creation of a coloring book campaign, and we want to see your kids' artwork right now, so download them for free in the KSAT Kids section on ksat.com. Kids can color one of the 2 San Antonio pictures and submit them in our gallery. Be sure to include your name, grade level, and a teacher with your submission.
In your morning headlines, surveillance video showing us inside the dining room of the Jimmy Wan's restaurant in Pittsburgh. It captured the moment when a woman crashed through the front of the establishment.
The crash happened 2 hours after the restaurant closed, so take a look. The driver smashed into the front desk where a hostess is normally stationed. The car also hit one of the booths in the lounge where people typically sit down and eat. Debris flies everywhere and is scattered across the place.
What do they say? Timing is everything. Had it happened earlier, 18 employees would have been inside along with customers. A neighbor rallying her community to help a local woman whose home was severely damaged.
All this after a neighboring house exploded. The whole thing was captured on video, so take a look at this. This is what Leonetta Nelson saw when she looked outside down the street on New House. She could see a brick home ripped into pieces from an explosion.
Yeah, terrified. Nelson thought the family lived inside was inside, but Rochelle Morales and her family recently moved, so thankfully nobody was home.
It was just a huge explosion, and I just mentally assumed that it was a car. And to pronounce, I look around the corner and it's a house.
The back end of the house of another neighbor also blew up, and she is now trying to pick up the pieces. Authorities are looking into what caused that explosion. And about 200 feet below the surface of a lake in Vermont, divers getting their hands on a piece of history.
Remains from one of the oldest steamship wrecks in the world, resting at the bottom of the lake for 201 years. Through the camera of a remote dive vehicle, we can see that the pair of paddle wheels is there, and it was the infamous Phoenix steamboat fire that took it down.
It was an early model steamship built to ferry passengers and cargo. In September of 1819, flames tore through it, forcing everyone to abandon the ship. 6 people died. It is considered one of the greatest tragedies in the lake's history.
College freshman Liv Sen Milan was practicing singing in her room, minding her own business, when her mom decided to join in.
So the young girl was creating an audition tape for placement at the New York Conservatory for Dramatic Arts, where the 18-year-old is starting classes. Now take a look. So all recorded on Liz's TikTok. When all of a sudden a giant bang and a hole appears in the roof and a leg is dangling through the ceiling. Turns out it was her mom, which was in the attic, and when she slipped, it ended up coming through that ceiling. We heard the mom was okay.
Mom, what are you doing?
During her audition tape. My goodness. That's happening a lot. Well, maybe not legs falling out of the ceiling, but interruptions during your Zoom or video calls. That's happening a lot right now.
I wonder if she knew her daughter was doing that.
Well, I mean, either way, I think that was.
And what was she doing in the ceiling to begin with?
I know. Where's the backstory on that? We have to look at it. We'll get back to you guys.
9:09, 59 degrees. Still ahead on GMSA at 9.
And at least 200 mammoth skeletons have been discovered at an airport construction site north of Mexico City. Still ahead on GMSA at 9. What archaeologists are calling the discoveries.
And today, a lot of eyes are going to be on the football season opener coming up tonight. It's no bubble. There will be some fans in the stands. Still ahead, RJ joins us live to give us the details of what we can expect on tonight's game and the rest of the season.
You may remember the Basilica Frocks building, a historical structure on the city's west side that was saved from demolition. But what's next for it? Just ahead on GMSA, we speak to the current owners and their vision for it.
And a quick look at stocks. Dow up 146 points. We'll be right back. And welcome back. It's 9:13. Community leaders on the city's west side were able to help prevent the demolition of a historic building set to become a dollar store. But now what?
The West Side Development Corporation is looking for a partnership to redevelop the 20,000 square foot building off of North Zarzamora.
Arlicia Beretta is live from the Basilica Frocks building with more on the need. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, community members here on the west side may remember either hearing about or even experiencing the weddings that were hosted here, the quinceañeras, even wrestling matches. But soon this historical structure could become a space for community workshops for small businesses and technology.
A rundown building with broken windows and boarded up doors, but engineers say it has a solid foundation and solid history of San Antonio's west side dating back to 1929.
The Basilica Frocks building was built in 1929 by the Basilica family, who actually came from Syria.
They started a garment manufacturing business that put San Antonio on the map.
What was special about it was one of the first locations in Texas where you can actually buy store-bought dresses, where at the time everyone made their own.
Since then, it's had many more uses.
So there's people around the west side who remember having dances and quinceañeras up on the second floor. There's, as you can see from some of the signage, there were wrestling matches here. Even contractors we're walking with remember being musicians and playing here at times.
The West Side Development Corporation purchased the property and wants to find the right partnership to continue to serve the west side.
The idea is, how do we bring economic activity back to this part of the west side and help support all the small businesses that are starting to be generated in the area?
But for Ramiro Gonzalez, CEO of the West Side Development Corporation, it's not all about the numbers.
We're not asking for proposals. We're not asking for numbers on the project as of yet. We're asking who you are and what you have done and what makes you a good fit for a project like this. So what other projects have you done? What is your vision of potential for the community and why you're interested in this?
So developers out there, you have until tomorrow, Friday, September 11th, to submit your request for information. And the Westside Development Corporation does have that form available for download. Another option is calling them directly to their main office, 210-501-0192. After after that, if they have a good pool of quality candidates, they tell me that they'll move into that request for proposal. Reporting live from the city's west side, Alicia Barrera, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Alicia. Wow, a lot of history in that community. Quinceañeras and wrestling matches. And
it's nice to see somebody's trying to come in and revive that history and keep that building and make it alive again.
Yeah, that'll be cool to see what happens with it.
Yeah, there's a lot you can do with that thing, I'm sure.
Lots of ideas.
Lots of ideas and lots of chill in the air. How about that?
But it's good chill.
Ooh,
It's the good kind.
Yeah.
Coffee this morning keeps you warm. It's in the 50s still right now, guys. We set some records this morning. That cold front meant business. This is really pretty cool for early September. We'll take it, though. The shower activity that we were looking at last night, we got quite a bit of heavy rain, in fact. That has all died down. So we're just looking at some light showers down there around Beeville. You go up towards Rock Springs, you'll find a little bit of activity, but nothing here around San Antonio. Just cloudy skies, good breeze. You saw that with Alicia right there. And it feels a little chilly outside. Looking at San Antonio specifically, we've got maybe a couple light returns up there along 1604, but that's it. Down to the south, we had some pretty steady rain earlier around Beeville. That's falling apart. There is some heavier rain down towards Corpus, but that should stay to our south. That's right along that front, which is finally making its way towards Corpus. They're still kind of in the warm air there, but they'll get a little bit of dose of some cooler, drier stuff today as well. Looking at the rainfall, this is over the last 48 hours, not 24, so the numbers are really pretty healthy. Floresville, over 5 inches. Pleasanton, over 5 inches. We had some reports of flooding down there across Karnes and Wilson County earlier. Seguin, 1.25 inches, close to 2 inches in New Braunfels. Here across Bexar County, we're talking 2 inches around Helotes, 2.25 at the airport. Again, this is over the last 48 hours. Even St. Hedwig, 4.83. On the flip side of all this, past the rain, we're talking about the cool temperatures and the records. We mentioned that. Record low this morning, 57 here in San Antonio. That beat the old record of 59 set in 2012. And Del Rio got down to 57 too. That beat the old record of 62 set back in 1908. And it wasn't just San Antonio and Del Rio. Look at the lows across the state, the record-setting lows. All the numbers within these blue boxes here represent records that were set. And basically, much of Texas was looking at some record lows this morning. And that's because this air mass is pretty rare for early September. And even as you go north, places like Colorado, Utah, setting some record lows with this air mass. Cloudy skies, 59 right now. Dew point is at 57. We've got a northerly breeze at about 12 miles per hour and still quite a bit of cloud cover. That should keep temperatures pretty cool today. We're thinking highs in the low 70s. 55 right now, Bernie State, 64, Castroville, 61, and New Braunfels, 63, Pleasanton, 58, Uvalde, 50 right now in Rock Springs. I will point out, though, Houston still at 80. Front has not made it through there yet, or it's moving through right now. You can kind of pick it up right there. So look at some cooler air there, too. It's just taking some time. This front was very slow moving. These are the highs today, we think. 72 here in San Antonio, 73 New Braunfels, probably staying in the 60s here in the Hill Country, 62 the high temperature in Del Rio. You may find some 80s a little bit closer to the coast. Bigger picture here, still some showers for central Texas, a few showers up in the Panhandle. But again, we should see a decrease in activity as we go throughout the course of today. And that's because our upper level low, which is behind all of this, starting to move away. And that's sort of the energy behind what we saw yesterday. And once we lose that, rain chances will go away for a couple days. But I think they come back into play as we get later into the weekend. So 20% chance of rain noontime through about 3 o'clock, and then 72 your high temperature, mostly cloudy, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. 83 tomorrow, then we're back up to 90 on Saturday. And then look for rain chances Sunday, Monday, into Tuesday. Probably our best chance at this point will be on Monday. But what a change. It is incredibly nice outside.
Yes, it is. A welcome change.
You notice I never used that phrase that you don't like.
I appreciate that, David. I appreciate that.
Now people are at home are going, what phrase is that? So
no,
I
can't say it now.
I asked you now. People want to know what it is.
Yeah, what is it?
I set that up. See how I set that up? Polar vortex.
I knew.
You've been waiting all summer.
I have. And we got a record one, too. See, we set a record with that one.
Yeah, we like the temperatures right now. And still ahead on GMSA at 9, President Lincoln's hair is up for auction. The story behind it next. And welcome back. It is 9:23. A lock of hair cut from President Abraham Lincoln's head and wrapped in a blood-stained telegram is up for auction online. Boston-based RR Auction says the hair was taken during a post-mortem exam of Lincoln. Then it was later given to Dr. Lehman Beaker Todd, a cousin of Mary Todd Lincoln, who was at Lincoln's bedside after the assassination. The hair is mounted on an official War Department telegram, also sent to Dr. Todd. The hair was last sold in 1999.
Archaeologists are calling it Mammoth Central. The number of mammoth skeletons recovered at an airport construction site north of Mexico City has now risen to at least 200. The discovery including signs that humans may have made tools from the bones of the animals that died some 10,000 to 20,000 years ago. Airport officials say they are still searching the construction site for more skeletons.
A prominent Buddhist monk noticed a surge in plastic waste generated by people in his neighborhood during the pandemic, so he decided to do something about it.
He began requesting plastic containers as a substitute for bowls used by his monastery to feed thousands of people in need. Dozens of volunteers helped him out, and his team now received several thousand used plastic bottles a day for the community. Most of those recycled are recycled as food containers, while others are incorporated into building materials used at the mediation center where he works.
He estimates 2 tons of plastic waste. That's around 200,000 bottles have been recycled so far. That saved around $10,000. Volunteers also use hanging plastic bottles to make sunshades to block out the sun's hot rays. What a good idea.
A lot more ahead on Good Morning San Antonio at 9.
The NFL kicks off today. What time, David?
7:20.
That's right, 7:20, and it might look a little different than we're used to. RJ Marcus will join us live to explain what you can expect during tonight's game in today's Sports Chat.
Plus, face masks are the new accessory. What makes the new air purifying mask created by a company in South Korea so cool?
And Alana Rocha will join us from the Texas Tribune to talk about topics from mail-in ballots to the state's first revision of the sex ed curriculum in more than 20 years. Stay with us.
And as we had to break, here's a quick look at the roads. Kind of wet this morning, but they're starting to dry out a little bit, which means the traffic is moving a little smoother today. It wasn't too bad today for as wet as it was, but things are looking good now. We'll be right back. Today, Governor Greg Abbott signing a pledge. He's asked all Texas candidates in the November election of any party affiliation to put their name on it, a promise to keep police budgets whole.
And the State Board of Education expected to vote on the first revision of the sex ed curriculum in more than 20 years. Alana Rocha with the Texas Tribune joins us with more about that updated curriculum and more. Good morning, Alana.
Good morning.
All right, Alana, let's start off with the governor signing this pledge, asking all Texas candidates in the November election of any party affiliation to put their name on it. He wants to keep police budgets whole in an election season consumed by debates on policing reforms and funding. Tell us about this pledge and what you expect from some of these candidates.
Yeah, well, I mean, he's going to be in Austin this afternoon at the Austin Police Association, joined by several of state leaders who will be signing this pledge as well, who aren't necessarily on the ballot this November, but of course are state leaders, so they're public figures, and wanted to get behind the governor on this. But it's the latest in a string of announcements from the governor in response to the summer of unrest, if you will, that we've seen in response to police brutality, police misconduct. Of course, Austin, too, is the first big city here in Texas to slash its law enforcement budget by a third, diverting many of those dollars to other social services, housing, things like that. And so, yeah, I mean, we've seen him say that he'd support legislation in the coming session that would freeze property values or freeze property revenues, rather. And then, of course, also last week, support legislation that would allow the state to take control of the Austin Police Department, make budgetary decisions, handle its operations, all at the city's expense. So, like you said, the latest in a string.
And Alana, the State Board of Education is expected to vote on the first revision of sex ed curriculum in more than 20 years, but the final proposal with final approval is expected in November still excludes any direct mention of LGBTQ issues. That doesn't mean districts can't teach it though, right?
Correct. Yeah, I mean, basically the state sets the minimum standards, and if a school district determines that certain curriculum would benefit their students, can add it. And so you see that in Austin School District, you see that in Fort Worth, that they are teaching, gender identity, LGBTQ issues. But yeah, it's controversial always whenever the State Board of Education is deciding, history, science, in this situation, health education and sex education. Plenty of testimony and went well into the night, and they're expected to do a preliminary vote later today.
A lot of mail-in ballots, a controversial subject all across the country, no different here in Texas. And it continued this week when a federal judge ruled that the state's process for determining whether there's a mismatch between a voter's signature on their ballot envelope and the signature on the voter used on their application to vote by mail, he says, quote, plainly violates certain voters' constitutional rights. So what's this particular issue and what's the fix and what do voters need to know?
Yeah, the two voters brought this from past election that their vote didn't count because they were either not notified or notified late as far as the supposed mismatch of their signatures between those two documents. And so the judge said, the state needs to have a uniform way to be able to notify voters of, when their signatures are flagged within 24 hours. So within a day of election officials determining that, they have to notify the voter and have a process for the voter to challenge that determination and make sure their vote counts. And so it's a huge ruling in an election season where we're expected to see increased mail-in ballots because of the pandemic.
All right, Alana Rocha with the Texas Tribune. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
All right, let's get outside with live cam. Let's just get outside, enjoy this.
Good advice.
Great to go out there. Do you have a coat? Did you bring a jacket today?
I brought long sleeves.
Did you send the kids out with their jacket this morning?
I bet a lot of people did. I bet a lot of people did. We're going to see a lot of jackets. You just got to remember not to leave them on the playground. See, this is just parental advice here.
We have this problem at home.
Yeah, you got to put the name on the tag. It's really important.
I think some of them had to dig in the closet to find it.
That too.
Where'd that thing go?
That too. It feels just so different outside after what was a really brutal summer with triple digits. We've got temperatures still in the 50s at this hour. Cloudy skies. It feels very much like fall outside. 58 degrees Boulevardy, 59 Canyon Lake, 61. In New Braunfels, 57 right now. In Tarpley, just about everybody's looking at cloudy skies. We've still got a few leftover showers, too. All very light. A couple light returns around Gonzales and Beeville, maybe up towards Rock Springs, but that's about it. I think rain chances really dwindle as we get into the afternoon. Only 66 at noon, 72 for a high temperature. Northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. This cool air is going to last for, about a day or so before we're back in the 90s this weekend. We'll talk more about that, and we'll look ahead to some rain chances. It looks like we could add to our rainfall totals coming up Sunday. We'll have more on that in just a bit. Guys.
Pro football coverage powered by Davis Law Firm.
NFL is back. We're very excited about that and the cooler weather, right? The season officially starts tonight with a big game in Kansas City.
It actually feels like football. The defending Super Bowl champs are hosting the Houston Texans tonight. RJ Marquez is live from his home. Is it warm in there? Did you find your jacket today? You been outside?
Yeah, I actually stepped out a little bit earlier and was like, whoa, I actually need to maybe put on a sweater or a long sleeve shirt. So we have definitely got football weather, and I just want to let that kind of sink in that the NFL is back tonight. So a lot of excitement surrounding that. Remember, guys, up until, a few months ago, there was a lot of uncertainty with what the NFL would do. They really had not figured out what they were going to do with player testing. Got that all sort of figured out. And then so now this is the first step here. And we are really excited about this matchup. The Houston Texans, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, the Kansas City Chiefs. This is a rematch of last year's playoffs in which the Texans blew a 24-0 lead over Kansas City. And David, I know that you're just excited to see your guy, Patrick Mahomes, back on the field.
A lot of people are, or Jay.
Patrick Mahomes. And another thing about tonight's game is it's in Kansas City, and Kansas City is an outdoor stadium. So I don't know what the temperature is in Kansas City. Justin will look that up for us because, he's got his crack staff over there working on things. So he can tell. But, you talk about feeling like football. It's going to feel like football in Kansas City tonight. And then Patrick Mahomes going after his second MVP, his second Super Bowl championship tonight. It starts against the Texans. But, sorry.
A lot of excitement surrounding the game, yes.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Now, the one big thing, of course, is going to be the attendance. That's going to be kind of interesting to see what the broadcasts kind of do, whether they sort of pipe in this crowd noise or if they just kind of let you hear the sights and sounds from the game. So the Chiefs, they've announced that they're going to have 16,000 fans in attendance. They have to have face coverings as they enter the stadium, of course, have to be socially distanced. Arrowhead Stadium, which is the one in Kansas City, is one of a few NFL stadiums that are right now allowing fans in. But I think that a lot of NFL teams kind of want fans to sort of gradually come back. Of course, AT&T Stadium in Dallas, Jerry Jones has not said how many fans they're going to allow in, but they will definitely have fans to start their regular season home games. So, we're getting there. And again, it's just going to be great to see that these two teams are going to be able to get back on the field because we've already seen this with professional baseball. Obviously, college football started off a little bit last week. So we've seen a couple of these fall sports kind of take shape a little bit.
It's going to be interesting. It's going to be kind of strange to see. I think they said there's going to be about 16,000 fans, and that's it in the stands. So how they're spread out, whether or not they can make noise, whether or not they pipe in the noise. If they don't pipe in noise, then they're going to have somebody on the beep machine because there's going to be some words that they don't want your average viewer to hear because it is a football field after all. We heard that in the NBA in the bubble. We heard a few of those. So there's going to be that delay thing working tonight. So
that might get out.
You figure that unless they're piping in some really big crowd noise. But we're talking about the Texans and the Kansas City Chiefs open up tonight. Well, the Cowboys are in prime time on Sunday night against the Rams. So that's pretty good to start the season.
Yeah, interesting that the Rams are opening up their new, $2-3 billion stadium up in LA, and they're not going to be able to have any fans inside of it. But yeah, the Cowboys are going to start their season Sunday night, Houston tonight. And interesting with both teams because I think the expectations are pretty high for both of them. The Texans made some pretty big deals over the offseason, getting rid of one of their most popular players, DeAndre Hopkins. And so, but they re-signed Deshaun Watson. I saw an interesting thing over as I was kind of doing a little bit of research on this game that between Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson, you're looking at more than $600 million in quarterback contracts. Of course, the Cowboys quarterback, Dak Prescott, still waiting for his big deal to come his way. But quarterbacks are doing pretty good nowadays, especially the two that are going to take the field tonight.
Yes, they are.
Not too bad. All right, we'll look forward to that. Of course, you'll be back tomorrow, and we'll talk about what we see tonight, tomorrow morning. It's going to be fun.
It'll be interesting.
It'll be interesting.
David and I were talking that maybe they're going to be playing a little differently because they didn't have games before.
No preseason games, so there might be a little rust there. So, got to get used to the timing and all. So we'll see.
Yeah, that's a great point. But again, with these two quarterbacks, especially Patrick Mahomes, I mean, just one of the most exciting players that we've seen in decades. I think that we should see some points being scored tonight. But that's a great point there. It'll be interesting to see the way this all kind of comes together.
A couple of no-look passes will be good. Thanks, RJ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bye, RJ.
Thanks, guys.
All right, it is now 9:40, getting closer and closer to kickoff.
Yes.
We should have a countdown clock.
We
somewhere
should.
Just to kick off.
We'll get that for you later. All right, coming up, a new battery-powered air purifying face mask to fight COVID has been unveiled. We're going to tell you how it works next on GMSA. And welcome back. It's 9:43. A South Korean company has invented a battery-powered filtered face mask.
Yeah, the mask is designed to reduce annoying problems associated with conventional designs, such as breathing difficulties and fogged up glasses. Here it is, LG Electronics Pure Care wearable. Comes in one size, features two fans, a high-efficiency particulate air filter that cleans the air coming in and exhaled breath going out.
It also comes with a case that charges the battery and disinfects the mask with ultraviolet light. It will be available in the fourth quarter in select markets. LG says the mask has a battery life of about 8 hours on low power settings.
Looks like it weighs a lot, though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. I was thinking about if that would be comfortable or not, but we'll see. Might be the next choice.
I don't know. Hey, by the way, Justin, what is the temperature in Kansas City?
Mid-50s
tonight.
Whoa, there you go.
So
kind of like here.
Right about what it is here.
Yeah.
Football weather.
Could be a little wet though. So.
Ah.
Oh, all right.
That's a good element to it.
Still exciting, nonetheless.
Yeah, it is exciting. I'm very excited about football. And it just feels like football weather out there. We had the cooler temperatures come in. That front brought some rain, some beneficial rain. We're going to take a look at the drought monitor in just a second. But let's first start with the live radar. See, most of the showers and storms have gone away. We had some flash flood warnings this morning down towards Floresville and Poth. That's where the heaviest of the rain was. It's now really just starting to fall apart. So I think we're pretty much done with the rain for the rest of today. The clouds will hang around. And there's a look at the new drought monitor. Still having some issues out west. So this was an area that we really needed some rain. And yesterday we did get a little bit, but not a whole lot. Some of these showers coming through. They were off and on. We did get some over those areas that needed the rain desperately. And over the last 48 hours or so, we saw a little bit more out to the west. Del Rio got some good rain. That's an area that needed the rain. Even here around San Antonio, where drought was trying to start to set in here, we got some very beneficial rain last couple days. And this is going to go a long way to helping us to get out of this drought. Take a look at the aquifer. Still going up. These numbers continue to rise. 2.5 feet now up over the last 48 hours or so, up to 661.2. So we're back up above that 660 threshold. And the 10-day rolling average is now up to 657.6 and rising. Now we've also got the cool temperatures with all this. This front has done a lot for us. We had record lows this morning, 57 in San Antonio. The old record was 59. We got down to 57 in Del Rio. The old record was 62. It wasn't just here. All over Texas, the records were falling with 40s in the Panhandle, 43 in Lubbock this morning. Got down to 40 in Amarillo. They actually had a few snowflakes yesterday. Just gives you an idea of what this front, how strong it was and what it did for Texas. And it's still moving east. It's going to try to make it into Tyler and Houston. It's trying to move through Houston right now, although they're still pretty warm, 83. It has made it through Corpus now, 71 degrees there. And temperatures, they'll stay pretty cool today because we have that cloud cover in place. It'll break up a little bit maybe this afternoon. But 59 right now, we're still not above 60 degrees. Northerly winds at 12 miles per hour and 62 currently in Stinson. A lot of cloud cover, as we mentioned. There'll be a few breaks here and there. 61 New Braunfels, 55 Bernie Stage, one of the cool spots. 65 in Castroville, still 50 in Rock Springs. You got 62 in Cotulla and 66 right now in Victoria. Dew points trying to come down too, so we're going to usher in some drier air a little bit later this afternoon. High temperatures should be right around 72, if not a little bit cooler, depending on how long this cloud cover and how thick it stays, if that cloud cover hangs around for a while. 82 in Victoria, but you'll find 60s out west. That's where the coolest air will be. Big picture here, we have an upper level low spinning out over the Four Corners. That's moving away, or will be moving away, so that'll take a lot of the rain chances with it. But as we look down the line here, another little area of low pressure down here that we're going to have to watch. That'll be moving west, and that should bring us some more rain chances as we get into Sunday. So forecast for today, 66 noontime, 70 by 3 o'clock, 20% chance of rain, although I think rain chances will really pretty much go away here. 72 by 5 o'clock, northerly winds 10 to 15 miles per hour. 83 tomorrow, 90 on Saturday, so we're right back into the heat, but we'll start to introduce rain chances again Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, depending on what happens with that little system coming through the Gulf there. And overnight lows will start to moderate back into the 70s. So it's kind of, a one-day thing here, but boy, it's gorgeous outside right now.
It's a nice one-day thing.
Yeah, we'll take it. Exactly. Yeah. Thank you, Justin.
Yeah. Did you do the Coke thing?
Oh, yeah. You owe me a Coke.
There you go. 9:48, 59 degrees.
Fair enough.
And we take a look at today's 9 at 9 next. And welcome back. It's 9:51. The trial for a COVID vaccine from Oxford was put on hold.
And your Walmart order may soon be delivered by a drone. Here's today's 9 at 9. A procedural motion to advance a Republican-led COVID-19 stimulus bill expected to be voted on in the Senate today.
The so-called skinny bill calls for $300 a week in enhanced jobless benefits, extends the Paycheck Protection Program, and provides $105 billion in education funds.
New details about why the trial for a COVID vaccine from Oxford and AstraZeneca was put on hold. According to the medical news site STAT, a British volunteer injected with the vaccine experienced neurological symptoms consistent with a rare but serious spinal inflammation disorder.
SeaWorld San Antonio feeling the impacts of the pandemic. 242 of its employees now laid off, according to documents the theme park submitted to the Texas Workforce Commission. The theme park's president says COVID-19 led to a low turnout in attendance at the park and a loss in revenue.
As kids go back to school, the risk meter for Bexar County has improved, and so has the graph tracking in-class learning. That graph moving further away from the high-risk bar and into the moderate area. In-class learning is recommended to involve 6 or fewer students in the classroom.
Dozens of wildfires raging across Washington, Oregon, and California. In the Golden State, more than 20 major fires are raging in a year that has already seen a record 2.2 million acres burned. Red flag warnings still in place across 5 states.
The push to make changes within police departments continues nationwide and here at home. 2 petitions are actually being circulated by a group called Fix SAPD. Those petitions are aimed at repealing local laws affecting the San Antonio Police Department.
A former top Homeland Security official turned whistleblower is coming forward to say he was ordered to stop producing intelligence reports on Russian interference in the 2020 election, in part because it made the president look bad.
It's all on tape. President Trump bluntly acknowledging to Bob Woodward he fully understood the deadly threat posed by coronavirus and that he was misleading the American public about it.
Walmart order may soon be delivered by drone. The retail giant has launched a pilot program to use cloud-controlled drones to drop off groceries and other items.
Good morning.
Hello there.
Coming up on Live, Tyra Banks from Dancing with the Stars.
Plus, learn to paint like a pro at home for Home Improvement Week. We'll see you soon.
And right now we're at 60 degrees. We finally made it to 60, but only 72 for a high today. A few leftover light showers this morning, but for the most part, rain chances start to wind down here. We'll see quieter weather Friday and Saturday, and warmer too, with some more rain chances returning by Sunday.
You know, we were talking about trying to stay kind of normal in this pandemic year. We talked about the maze out there in Hondo.
That's coming
and
soon.
The Texas State Fair is doing what they can to get people to come kind of enjoy the fair.
Yeah, now they're doing a drive-through, so you could still, get that State Fair food. So for the first time in its 134-year history, State Fair Texas announces a drive-through food event.
Anywhere from $25 package to a $99 package. And it's basically drive-through. You can go with up to 8 people in your car.
Yeah.
And you drive through the grounds, and it takes you about an hour to 2 hours. And they feed you. And they feed you like fair food. This is not like, going to a restaurant.
This is a
fair food.
Good stuff. So like the Fair Food and Photo Package A, it's like $65. It has the soft drinks and the fried Oreos.
Fried Oreos, cotton candy, kettle corn. You get some Midway prizes. You get the corny dogs, of course.
The corny dogs, don't forget.
And what do you get? You get a professionally taken picture of you and Big Tex.
You can still have the memories.
There you go. How do you beat that?
And the food.
And the food.
Yeah.
You can't beat
Still have
that.
a good time. Have a great day, guys.
See you. Have a great Thursday.